Welcome to Book Club no Kiseki. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
And the portion of Falcom's Kiseki series we'll be covering today is the drama CD, Road to the Future, as well as the prologue of Trails to Azure, entitled Traces of D. But before we get started, o genki desu ka?
Oh shit. Oh shit. Hi.
Sup?
Yeah. Remember, we stopped doing annoying what's ups, and now it's going to be multicultural what's ups.
Shit.
So that was Japanese for how are you? Are you well?
I'm well enough. The problem is we have a recording schedule set up now where we record one podcast where you ask me how my week was on Saturday, then you ask me again on another podcast on Monday. So I better have an exciting Sunday.
Yeah, as what normally happens is on Saturday you actually do your talking about the week on the main podcast, and then here it's just like, oh, this is a game I've played or something like that. That's usually what I do, and because nothing happens on Sundays.
Yeah. I'm still playing here and there when I have the time and energy, Metroid Prime Remastered, and I'll play it for an hour and then I'll die. And I haven't encountered a save point in all that time and haven't mindfully retreated to a save point in all that time, so I lose a bunch of progress.
Didn't they add an autosave or something to the remaster?
Absolutely not. There is no autosave, there's no checkpoints. They did not add anything like that. If they did, I have somehow accidentally disabled it. And I'm honestly surprised that they didn't add that, because it seems like the type of thing you add when you're modernizing a 2003, I want to say, game.
I couldn't remember if I had read that they added one or that they should have added one.
Well, those are very different.
They're very, very different, but they're only two words different in the percentage storage place that is my mind because of aphantasia. So
I see.
There's a smudge on the paper, and I don't remember if that should have or they did is what those words say.
Well, in my copy, it's not there.
Cool.
And it feels sort of weird after playing Metroid Dread, because Metroid Dread was extremely difficult, but also pretty forgiving. Like, you got lots of checkpoints, and autosaves and stuff. You died a lot, or at least I did, but it didn't feel like you lost much progress most of the time. But, I mean, honestly, it's not been so terrible with Metroid Prime Remastered dealing with that, and it's sort of nice doing things a second time and being better at it that time. Sort of speed running through it the second time.
Nice. I always have hated dying on something, losing a bunch of progress, and then speedrunning through it the second time, because the first time, because I sucked, mostly in JRPGs, because that's what I played the most of. Because I sucked, I got lost a lot, and I walked around in circles, and I did a lot more exploring, so I fought a lot more things. And so when I got to the boss, I was maybe a couple levels higher, but I died to the boss. Now I got to the boss super duper easy, and now there's no way in hell I can beat the boss, because he's now extra hard because I'm underleveled. And it's a frustrating thing in JRPGs specifically. I have done something exciting on Sunday. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV again, because they gave me 4 free days of game time, and I happen to have a bunch of days off of work over the next couple of days. So I've been playing that a lot, and it's really good. I got to a really fucking hype cutscene today, and yeah, I'm about in that cutscene. I received two shiny crystal things, and there were three behind me that were dark and not shiny. So I'm guessing I am 40% of the way through Heaven's Word. But
I'll play that game someday.
yeah, it
Someday I'll have finished all the exciting games I want to play, and then I'll get through A Realm Reborn.
mhm. But what I think the best way to do it would be like when I first played it was when I got laid off from Google and I hadn't started uh at ITF yet. So I had a lot of time to lay around and not do anything. So if you get sick or have time off of work or whatever and just need number go up to get you through it, that's probably the best way to get through Realm Reborn, is just to have a thing to do.
Well, I work for a massive tech giant, so I will get laid off at some point, so I'll remember that.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna pretend that I'm gonna try and play it. Like someday I'll buy it. That's as far as I'll commit to.
Yeah.
Well, you can play the full game and the award-winning Heaven's Word expansion for free.
I
Up
have
to level whatever the fuck.
I have a feeling that they will do sooner rather than later. They will have an optional thing like, oh, if you buy the most recent expansion, like WoW did with its character boost, where it's like, oh, we're just going to put you in the end game of the previous expansion at full level, and you can just start from there. And so they'll probably have some sort of like story catch up thing where you can watch a condensed version of A Realm Reborn and just start at Heaven's Word. I guarantee they're gonna come up with some solution to that pretty soon. But yeah, it's good, and I could talk about all the ways that it's good forever, but I already did that when I started playing it back when I got laid off from Google, so I won't do it again now. What about you, Matt?
I picked up a game called Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
I've heard of that one.
Uh, I'm very excited to play it. Oh, that's why. Okay, I got a thing now. I'm very excited to play it, but I'm not going to play it until after I finish a little game that maybe you've heard of. Probably not. It's pretty niche. It's called Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Hell
Because, fun fact, when that game first came out, I never actually finished it.
Nice.
And I have every intention to at least try and finish it before the new one comes out.
Well, you can just go straight to the final boss.
Well,
Get good.
yeah, some of us really suck at video games, Bernard, okay?
I actually also started replaying Breath of the Wild. I did finish it back in 2017 when it came out, but I haven't played it since then. So I started playing it, and I will let Matt continue talking in a second, but I just want to say I started playing it. I've played it for about an hour so far, and it's just incredible. It's a masterpiece. I was like, is it gonna not shine as bright when I come back to it 6 years later? No, it rules. Okay,
Nice.
You may continue.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, sure. It is still like a solid 7.58 to me. There's just a couple of things that, from what I have seen, and I'm not one of those people who dislike the weapon degradation. That's that's just a choice that you make in games, and it happens. Please move on. Internet. Sorry, I have to put together my thoughts on this. But there were just a couple of things in the original game that kind of hit weird to me. I don't know why, but from everything I've seen about Tears of the Kingdom, it like patches those up, so it should be as close to a perfect game as I can get anyway, without being a farming simulator. Which, you know what, if it's a farming simulator, okay, I'm done. I never have to buy another video game ever. You got me, Nintendo.
Well, you didn't get far enough into Breath of the Wild to get to when it becomes an Animal Crossing. So
I didn't, and I was still like 200 hours into that game. Sam.
Yeah. You should have just gone and fought Ganon. If you're 200 hours in, I guarantee you're strong enough to go and beat it. But
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I spend a lot of time just getting lost and being lost, and like there was a whole day where Rebecca still had school at that point, where I was just like, I wonder what this direction. And I found no shrines, and I just kept going. And then she got home, and somehow 9 hours of my life disappeared. And I don't know what I did with that 9 hours.
Yeah, and for some reason you were referring to this wonderful experience as a 7.5. But
yeah. For context, Persona 5 is one of my favorite games ever made, and I think of it like an 8.5.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
Breath of the Wild is 7.5 perfect game.
7.5 out of 8.5 graded on that curve is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some 10s. Harvestella to me is a 10. Like everything about that game is perfect. For me. All of this is relative to just specifically me.
Absolutely. That's the only kind of games criticism that's any good, is stuff that's a personal reaction to it. It just so happens your personal reaction is wrong, but
I get that a lot.
Similarly, I am also very hyped for Tears of the Kingdom, so I am getting Age of Calamity from Gamefly to hold me over. Because I had Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory from Gamefly, and I was planning on just sitting on that for a couple of weeks. But they then gave me a bunch of coupons and the pre-played sale, so I ended up being able to keep Kingdom Hearts for like $4. So I did that, and then I needed something else to come, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll finally play Age of Calamity to get me hyped and back into the world without replaying Breath of the Wild, because I have a feeling if I did replay Breath of the Wild, I would probably love it, but I also would probably burn out on big, huge, explory, open world stuff, and I don't want to be burnt out before the new one comes out. So, yeah, Zelda's going to be good, guys, and in a month, it'll be funny when you all are listening to this on the podcast feed and the game came out and it sucks.
And everybody does the Toy Story meme of throwing Breath of the Wild in the garbage. I don't want to play with you anymore.
But speaking of things I do want to play, let's listen to some Kiseki music and then talk about this drama CD. I guess play as in press the play button on my CD player. The segue didn't work this time. Anyways, see you.
That
Okay, so Road to the Future is being covered in a non-spin-off bonus episode because it was a pack-in audio drama for the original Aono Kiseki Collector's Edition in Japan, and it covers the disbanding of the Triple S in between Zero and Azure. These events are alluded to in dialogue in the prologue that we play later, so we probably could have just skipped this one, but this episode would have been like 11 minutes long again if we did skip it. So
we're going to add in this drama CD so that it can instead be 13 minutes long.
yes.
Can we stop and appreciate for a second how kind of bonkers and awesome it is that this was a pack-in
Yeah.
with a game? Like, what other... I think the first 4 Dot Hack games had a 4-episode anime that came in each installment. But I can't think of any other games that had something like this.
Final Fantasy 13 2 came with a novella.
Yeah,
which sucked ass.
Yeah, it did. I'm so glad we spent an episode of Longcast reading that to find out that it sucked ass.
I'm so glad that was our Christmas special that year.
Aye. But it's actually not that uncommon in Japan for like their special editions and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of drama CDs and novellas and light novels and things like that we just never get translated, because to translate a audio drama you'd have to remake it from scratch, which is a big deal. So they usually just fall by the wayside. But if you go deep diving on a bunch of fandom articles, there's drama CDs and light novels and novellas and tie-in mangas and things like that all over all of our favorite releases. This is just the only podcast where we cover all of the bullshit, so we get to see it all. The special edition of, I think, Sky the Third, maybe it was Zero, I don't remember, had a drama CD adaptation of all of the Sky games. So they do that stuff a lot, which is pretty cool. Anywho, so when this drama starts, it picks up on the last scene of Trails from Zero, where the group is dropping Kia off at her first day of Sunday school. The group picks on Lloyd because he's become like a doting father towards Kia ever since the DG incident. As the team is joshing around, Sergei reminds them that the new mayor wants to talk to the Triple S, so they better head on over. When they get to Dieter's office, Dudley and Maria Bell are there too, and the three of them have a proposal on how to strengthen the Triple S. They say that intelligence suggests that the Empire and the Republic will both use the DG incident as an excuse to try and sanction and meddle and get more control over Crossbell. So Dieter wants to show the strength of Crossbell and show that they don't really need meddling or protection from either side. He says that the Triple S perfectly embodies the spirit of Crossbell, and because they were the heroes in a super high profile incident that had the whole world looking at them, them being awesome will prove that Crossbell is awesome. So to strengthen the Triple S, he offers Lloyd training with the First Division to hone up his detective skills. There's actually a line in it about how he did a good job, but he messed up a lot and didn't go by the book. And I'm wondering if they are talking about how the fact that I got every single detective question wrong in the entire game, they somehow made this not based off of the canon ending, but based off of my ending.
Oh, can I say something? I think I forgot to say. I missed First Rank Detective by 9 points.
Oh, shit.
9 points.
Hell yeah.
That's really close. I was
not hell yeah. I'm pissed off.
I mean, That's
Is it-
really good though, Bernard.
Is
It
it like
is.
is it like second chapter where you don't? It's not worth importing your save if you don't get it perfect, or do you still get a pretty good reward?
I mean, I think you get rewards. I don't know, but I came so close.
Yeah, I rolled my saves, so I have a save at the end of every chapter for me to go back and eventually 100% zero. Just go and hang out and do all the side quests and stuff because I didn't come close to making first rank detective. But yeah, so Lloyd is offered training with the First Division, and then they have a proposal for Ellie as well. Ellie's grandfather retired from being mayor last game, but then was elected Speaker of the Diet. I don't remember them talking about that at all, but there it is. So they offer for Ellie to travel with her grandfather on his diplomatic efforts while he's trying to restore Crossbell's diplomatic reputation. That way, she'll be able to hone her diplomacy skills, make connections abroad that will help both Crossbell and the Triple S. Lloyd and Ellie say that they can't make a decision that affects the whole squad alone, so they're going to discuss it with the team and then get back to them to know their decisions. That night after dinner, Lloyd and Ellie talk together on the roof, and they reminisce about their relationship, and both of them think that they are misreading each other's signals. Ellie says that she's going to take the job because she wants to accomplish more as an individual and make it up for her grandfather when she left being his assistant to join the Triple S last year. Lloyd says he doesn't know if he's going to take the job just yet. He's worried about the Triple S being left behind without him. He also isn't sure that the DG incident is truly over yet because Ernest got away and Guy's killer is still unknown, and both of those seem to be coming to a head eventually. He just doesn't think that the Triple S is currently strong enough to do the job that it has in front of it. While they're talking, Kia comes up to get them for tea, and Lloyd says to gather the group so he can tell them his and Ellie's decision. But when they get there, Ellie tells the group that she's leaving, but Lloyd doesn't yet. They decide to give Ellie a going away picnic, and even Sergey is going to come on the picnic. There are about 2.5 pages full of really cute scenes about fishing, reminiscing on their time together, Lloyd being a chick magnet, them eating at the picnic. And then finally, after all of it, Lloyd addresses the group and finally says that he too will be taking the proposal to leave the Triple S. He brings up that if the DG incident happened again, but they didn't get lucky that Estelle and Joshua were there, and they didn't get lucky that Noel's team was away from the base when all the drugs were being passed around, they would not have survived. They would not have won. They had a bunch of close calls where it would have been the end for them, but then luckily they had help, and so he's like, we really need to up the ante to give everything we got to keep facing what's coming on in the future. So he apologizes for leaving the group, but the group is like, you just laid out a very logical reason on why it makes sense for you to go. So it makes sense. We're not mad. Just go. Since the Triple S will now just be 2 people, Lloyd tells them that they should go on hiatus, and instead of trying to do the work of 4 with just 2 people while they're gone, to instead focus on training at what they're best at. Tio takes this to mean improving her not a robot but not a robot skills, and she returns to the Epstein Foundation headquarters in Lemon State to work on her Aeon system and to deliver a report about how cool her staff is. She also says that she's going to take Jonah with her. Randy decides to improve his abilities to beef it with women. He goes on
sometimes it's rough reading the shit that these writers think is flirting.
It's it's bad. My favorite thing in fiction in general is things that are supposed to be jokes in a fictional universe and things that are supposed to be flirting in a fictional universe. And it's always just the most insane shit, and I can never tell if the writer is not funny or not charismatic, or if they're doing a thing where it's like, oh no, in this universe, this would be a totally funny joke. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Randy goes on a date with Morale, the blonde hot chick that got so drunk she lost a tank last game. Uh, uh, During that thing, there was a bit where Randy was like, "Oh, you can make it up to me by while going on a date with me," and here she is, but of course she has ulterior motives. She says that she's pretty fucked up over shooting civilians during the DG incident, and now she's supposed to just go back to work. And Randy is like, "Yeah, everyone knows that like we all were drugged. It was this big high profile thing. Like nobody blames you in particular, but the rest of the CGF is also super fucked up about it, and the morale is super duper low." Randy is like, "Well, y'all should like work extra hard because it's hard to like be sad when you're sweating from hard work and everything." And Morel is like, "Well, that's why I'm here. I want you to come back to the CGF, help us get morale back up, be a trainer, show my people how to go Super Saiyan like you can, and help us."
Tell
And
them not to take strange drugs anymore.
yeah, no matter how charismatic your boss is, if he comes in and is like, "Hey, everybody, let's take these unmarked blue pills," just don't do that. It's not a good. In fact, listener, if your boss comes up to you and is like, "Hey, everybody, we're all going to take these pills together so that we can do our jobs better," just don't do it.
Yeah,
Just,
that applies in the real world too, not just fantasy world.
yeah. Uh, Later, we see the team reporting to Sergey before they all head out to their summer jobs, and Sergey tells them that he's going to be recruiting some more Triple S members while they're away, so we'll have some rookies to train when they get back.
Bringing
But
in scabs.
But in the meantime, he formally disbands the Triple S so that everyone can act not as police officers except for Lloyd and just as civilians during their summer jobs. But before they leave, Kia makes them all do a friendship vow, which is something that friends who have to leave but not say goodbye do. They all stand in a circle and do the whole hands in the middle thing, and then on 3 they say "see you soon," and it's adorable. The final bit is a couple of scenes of everybody at their summer jobs, ending with Lloyd saying that the real Triple S was the friends that they made along the way. So yeah, let's listen to some more Falcon music, because we can listen to as much Falcon music as we want, and then we'll start talking about Trails to Azure. Alright, the game starts on the outskirts of the Calvard Republic with a party of Lloyd, Dudley, Arios, and Noel. They found out where Ernest and Speaker Hartman are hiding, and they're working with the Republic to get him back. The Republic officers there say that the quote-unquote the Triple S has a go at resolving this themselves, but at 5 p.m. they're swooping in and making it the Republic's problem, which is kind of stupid and doesn't make sense, like trying to think diplomatically, but whatever. It's anime. It's apparently because the cult has dirt on the Republic, but we also like Ernest and Hartman are the only people in the cult left. So if you capture them, who cares what dirt they have? It's still kind of stupid. Either way, this is a temporary triple S made out of the triple S, the CGF, the CPD, and the Bracer Guild. It's a big joint operation, but all of them are there under the guise of being the special support section because they can wiggle out of things easier. So the party heads inside and they're greeted by fiends, so they're obviously in the right place. This apparently was the lodge where Guy rescued Tio back in the day. We make our way through the tutorial dungeon, and the cool new thing that they add to the orb mints this time around is a master quartz that you put in the middle of your orb mint that like flavors your whole thing, which is pretty cool. It's just another quartz to give you different stats, but I like it a lot, so it's cool. As we go through the tutorial to dungeon, we see
the tutorial dungeon. Is this Undertale?
Yes, the tutorial dungeon. It's Undertale 2. It's tutorial. Yeah. We see the remnants of the experiments that they performed on Tio, and it's just looks like two computers, but whatever. Those computers can plug into kids' brains and turn them into not quite robots. There's also a whole bunch of scenes that are, well, as we all know, recapping the last game, which it's always funny to me that when you get to like book 5 of a series or game 5 of a series where they have to go through the shoe leather to just in case it's somebody's first game, but I could not imagine this being your first ever Kiseki game and trying to just understand the complicated political dealings that are Crossbell State at the end of Trails from Zero.
You just should not even be able to start a new game without importing save data.
Yeah. Like I could see starting at 0, but I don't like everything I've seen of the prologue so far. You do not start with this game. If for some reason this is the first episode of this podcast you're listening to, go back to Sky. That's where you should start.
Back to the sky. Back from whence you came.
If you got over halfway through this episode to hear this warning, you should pause now and go back. So the party catches up with Ernest and Hartman, and Ernest has gone off the deep end in the last 2 months since we saw him. He still thinks that he has a shot at being mayor, despite the election being 3 months ago, and also him being a caught, convicted, and highly publicized enemy of the state. But sure, he'll get in and he'll be mayor on a technicality.
Here's how Ernest can still win.
Yes. The party attempts to arrest him, but they instead summon some robots for us to fight. We kick the robot asses, and then we chase after Ernest and the speaker. But a bridge collapses, so Lloyd and Noel are separated from Dudley and Arios. So Lloyd and Noel have to go and do the full dungeon, while Dudley and Arios get to skip to the boss. When we make our way through the dungeon, we somehow beat Dudley and Arios there, so we can eavesdrop on Ernest and the speaker. And apparently, Speaker Hartman has been going along with all of the cult shit because he was a visitor to the Paradise Lodge, which is the lodge that had all of the child trafficking in it that Ren was sold into, the super fucked up one. So, I hope we get to kill Speaker Hartman. He survives the big explosion at the end of this chapter, but I hope as soon as he wakes up, we stab him because that's fucked up.
That just made me imagine Lloyd trying to stab someone with his, what are they called, tonfa?
Yeah.
And it not working.
Yeah, the 3 besorted people standing around him just watch, and he's just sitting there trying to stab him with a tonfa. So yeah, we get to fight Ernest. He says that he's going to become mayor, and when he's mayor, he'll disband the Triple S and make Ellie his secretary. And Lloyd is like, "Fuck that." But Ernest then chugs some red gnosis and turns into a demon, and we have to fight him. Just Lloyd and Noel. Apparently, Arios and Dudley had caught up to him earlier, but they slicked like a dozen robots on him, so they're indisposed. It's a tutorial boss, so we kick his ass. Uh, After the fight, Hartman tries to run away, but Ernest blasts him with some magic-y shit and it knocks him unconscious. They make a point to say that he's not dead. Damn it.
No one dies in these games.
No.
At the end of a game, one person gets to die.
Yes. Parent figures get to die 5 years ago, and one villain per game gets to die, and that's it.
And that's still a double-digit percentage population change.
Yes. So Ernest then chugs even more red gnosis to turn into the giant, like, in-game final boss version of the demon, and he's like, "Oh, Joaquin said that he got to see the truth of the universe. I'm ready. I want to see the truth. I'm ready for it." But turns out, Joaquin was full of shit and crazy, and cults are all fake, and you don't actually get religious euphoria from torturing children. Who'd have thunk? Joaquin was crazy, and there's nothing to be seen. And Ernest does not like this revelation. He gets big mad and decides to fight us. But then Dudley and Arios show up to make the fight fair. We kick his ass one more time, and he starts to melt, literally. Lloyd goes to try to appeal to his humanity, like they did with Garcia, to get him to come back down and not be a demon anymore. But it's not working. But then a grass-headed voice from off-screen says that we'll need the big guns, and it starts quoting scripture. It's our boy, Kevin Graham.
Hell yeah.
You love to see it. Kevin does some of his Pope Cop magic and turns Ernest back into a human, and we take him back to town to keep him in custody. I don't remember if he's in custody with Crossbell or the Republic or whatever, but it happens off screen.
Arios and Dudley have Ernest and Hartman like in a cop car and drive away before Lloyd and Noel board the train and everything.
Okay.
And I don't know where they drive to, or if they're going to be held in Calvard or Crossbell or what.
Yeah, we'll probably figure it out.
I mean, they're probably going to fucking escape.
That's probably what's going to happen. Dudley congratulates Lloyd on the arrest and says that his time with the 1st Division is over and that he's free to go back to the Triple S. Lloyd and Noel say goodbye to Kevin, and they hop on the train back home. We see Reese show up, and she says that she's going to go undercover in Crossbell, quote, the city of sin, because shadows seem to be converging there.
And Pope cops aren't allowed there, so that's why she's going undercover.
Mm-hmm.
What are they actually called?
Grouse ritters?
Yeah, the things that Kevin's is.
Yeah,
not allowed there because apparently the head church person in Crossbell doesn't like that there's Pope cops for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Thinks that there's this extrajudicial secret organization that goes around murking dudes isn't cool for some reason.
Yeah, not sure why. On the train, as they're driving back, we find out that this special installment of the Triple S wasn't entirely made up, because this was her last mission for the CGF and her first mission for the Triple S. She's one of our rookies, and I'm so excited because I love her and she has a driver's license.
It's being a teenager all over again.
Mm-hmm. Lloyd gives her a rundown of the events of the drama CD that we talked about earlier, and she asks about our other new member. And Lloyd is like, "I don't know. I fought with him before, so I trust him. But when we offered him the job, he said that it seemed this interesting. And I mean, there is all of that crime too. Turns out that that rookie is Wazy, the former leader of the Testament gang. You can just stop being a criminal and become a cop. Or in the real world, you don't even have to stop being a criminal." Um, so,
Nice.
thank you. So, Sergey, when they get there, everybody's there. Wazy is hot now. He was kind of a dweeb last game, but he's hot now.
I
Uh,
do like his new outfit.
It's pretty good.
Sergey is like, well, since we now have 4 members, that's the bare minimum you can have for a JRPG party. So I'm going to reinstate the Triple S with Lloyd, Ellie, Wazy, and Noel as our starting party. Everyone is super jazzed about having a day job again, and then we get an anime opening that fucking rules. And then we
Yeah,
save.
you didn't mention, but Tio and who's the other guy?
Randy
Randy.
are
They're
not
not
there
there
yet.
yet.
Yeah. So yeah, we watched the anime opening, and it's really fucking cool. I these are obviously PSP games with like way less budget than the Sky trilogy, but they do such good shit with their low budget. And this anime opening is actually Dragon Bones animation, but it's all done really well, and it's hype, and it feels just as good as the full anime opening that we got for the Sky trilogy. So you love to see it.
So, I was trying to remember what Wazi's new outfit looks like. So I brought up, at great risk to myself, I brought up a page on the Kiseki wiki.
Hey.
And I just want to note, I did not see a spoiler, but I did see his likes. Do y'all want to guess what his likes are?
I want to know what his likes are.
His likes are, he has 2 likes. 1, chic hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, okay.
2, non-alcoholic cocktails, open pairing, maybe close pairing.
That's amazing. But yeah, let's listen to a final little chunk of Kiseki music, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments. Dope. What do you guys got?
So, as we all know, the current sub-series or sub-series in the Legend of Heroes Trails is the Kurona Kiseki games, which take place in Calvard. And the beginning of this game takes place in Calvard. Ao no Kiseki takes place in Calvard.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the chests that you check, and then you check it again because it's Kiseki, says the chests in this lodge are the only Calvardian chests you're ever going to meet who speak. So apparently, at some point in the future, maybe with Cold Steel, maybe later, they stop doing the speaking chest thing, which is good because that was unsustainable.
Apparently, because I just was looking that up to see if, like, when it ends. It ended in Trails to Azure Japanese version. The Japanese version of this game does not have chest messages, but the Geofront English translation added them all back in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
nuts.
weird that it stopped halfway through a duology,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll take them being here
Yeah,
for the English version.
I'm gonna make a point to read them all now because they're the last ones.
It's sad.
Pouring out for a real one. Yeah, I really liked the drama CD. All of the cute scenes that I summed up in a paragraph are really cute, and the dialogue is good and snappy. Did you guys listen while you read, or just read the text version?
I listened while I read for the first half. Then the second half, I was in a waiting room and didn't have headphones, so I just read.
I totally wasn't at work when I read it, so I read it.
Yeah, I watched a good chunk of the YouTube video. There's a YouTube video that uses game assets to make it look like a cutscene from the game, which is really good and a cute way to adapt this for English audiences. But I mostly read it, but the quality is good for it being a pack-in freebie.
The fucking scene with Randy and Murray, which is how I'm going to pronounce her name, was so
Mhm.
fucking stupid, though.
Yeah, it was quite stupid. The scene where Maria Bell confesses to being a lesbian and having a big old crush on Ellie goes for way too long, but
It does.
I did not ship them in the game, but now I totally do.
I don't. I really like the tutorial dungeon.
Mhm.
It's big and windy and has branching paths, and the paths loop around, and you can go one way and find your way back. And it's cool. It's a neat dungeon.
Mhm. It hopefully it is a sign of good things to come for the rest of the game. The tail end of last game had really good dungeons, and this one's starting off strong, so I'm hopeful.
I'm also excited that I can make that I'll be able to make a party that is just Lloyd and his girlfriends, Ellie, Noelle, and Wazzy.
Yes. Um Another really important thing that happened at the end of this playthrough in Azure this week is this game has a really hot blonde that can kick my ass in wearing knight armor, and I know nothing about her, but I can't wait to meet her because she looks really, really cool, and she could probably kick my ass.
Is she one of those characters that was in the anime opening for half a
Yes,
second?
absolutely. When I was first watching it, something right before she popped up, I was like, "Oh, that looks really, really cool." And then she popped up, and I'm like, "Fuck that other thing. This is what I'm all about." I can't remember what it is, so I'm going to go look it up right now. See what the other thing is.
Do you ever stop to contemplate the fact that, like, most of the characters, even like the elderly people and children in this universe, could probably kick our asses? Just by nature of what it requires to survive in a world where real monsters exist.
I mean, I'm frail and pathetic. Both children and old people in the real world could probably kick my ass.
It's very true.
Oh, I forgot the motherfucking Joker is in this opening.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was fucking Campanella. I was like, God damn it. This game's gonna suck. Campanella's back. But then I saw the girl and I was like, oh, never mind. This game's gonna rule.
Yeah, she's cool. She has a very big lance.
Yeah. Looks like a Fire Emblem knight or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Looks like
yeah,
the Fire Emblem character that you have at the beginning of the game, who's higher level than the rest of the characters. And you're like, oh, I'll just use them constantly. I'll let them carry me. But then if you do that, then your other characters are underleveled in later battles, and you've fucked up.
definitely. Yeah, this anime opening is a fantastic use of Dragon Bone animation. Like it's almost as good as Digimon Survive. Like it has so much going for it that you can barely tell that it's all Dragon Bones, and it's just as hype as the anime opening. What about you, Matt? Any memorable moments you wanted
I
to bring
mean,
up?
y'all kind of hit on the ones. I'm always a fan of the medium grade villain coming back as a party member.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Big fan of that. I thought most. I was actually kind of surprised how good I thought the audio drama was.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to a fair, well, probably more than a fair number. Let's be honest. Of YouTube audio drama and podcast form audio drama,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? This freebie one that they stuck in the collector's edition, like upper middle, which is shocking because I have paid for less.
Yeah,
Um, but other than that, it's
yeah.
kind
That
of it.
reminds
I like. Nope, go ahead.
that reminds me that I really enjoyed the voice acting in the prologue. For some reason, it just really stood out to me this week. Out of all these weeks we've been playing Kiseki, I was like, oh man, this has some great voice acting. Like
Mm-hmm.
Hartman being a Weasley weasel and Ernest being a out of his mind villain and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Just a bunch of great voice acting.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing with the Japanese voices this whole podcast because I played the Vita versions of the last 3 games, and the, they're all really good. And it's crazy to me that the Sky trilogy didn't have voice acting at all. In it would have battle voice acting, of course, but it didn't have cutscene voice acting at all in the Japanese because it just fits so well and is so good. And they voice acted literally every single line of dialogue in Sky 1 and 2, and it's it's real good. You love to see it.
I totally understand why they did not dub the crossbell duology because that would have been ridiculous. But also, I'm like, I would like to know what these battle yells mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know what cool shit Arios is saying at the end of a battle.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
I'll just have to learn Japanese.
Most of the time, they say a variation on "It's my turn." Uh, like "Watashi no ban desu ne" is "It's my turn, isn't it?" And that's what most people say. And now you're going to hear it every time.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
I do like when they are about to cast a spell and they just say Enigma. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that's your cell phone. That
Mm-hmm.
lets you cast spells. You've said the brand name.
Persona. Um, yeah. Anything else to bring up? It's super tiny slivers of meat for either of these, but
How am I gonna choose a party now when there's gonna be 6 members
I
of the Triple
know.
S?
But at least in fiction, they're all 6 are traveling together, and you have 2 support members. So it'll feel less weird to pick which ones would be support and which ones would be the main group.
It's not like Final Fantasy VII where it's like, okay, me and 2 of you are gonna go have an adventure. The rest of y'all chill in the ghost hotel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else stays on the Highwind.
I'm just going to be aggressively rotating in and out.
Yeah, I might do the same unless I just find like combo skills that work best, and then I'll just. I'm a sucker to min maxing. So if Randy, Ellie, and Wazy are the best, then I'll do that. But I'll also probably want it to just be girls team because I am what I am.
No judgment.
I'm
But-
definitely going to have Noelle on my team a lot of the time. I love her.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, so that'll do it for the week. This podcast is a timed exclusive for our supporters at our Ko-Fi. So if you like what you heard today and you're listening in the podcast feed, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club where you can donate and get access to a couple more episodes that are probably waiting on you there. When you donate, we now have 3 different tiers that you can join if you sign up for a monthly subscription. We have the Gadabout tier, which is everyone who pays $1 or more a month. This will get you access to our Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everyone else, and lets you vote on our polls to pick our next game for the main podcast whenever those are live. The next tier is the Warrior tier, and that's for everyone who pays $5 or more a month. And that also gets their name shouted out at the end of every episode, like this. Shoutouts to Floris, which I just realized is using Wazy as their profile picture on Ko-Fi. So shoutouts to Floris, Kildron, Freddie Rodriguez, Aaron524, Vimk, Jfro Prime, and Doho. Above the Warrior tier, we have the Luminary tier, which is for everyone who loves us so much that they want to pay us $20 or more a month. Well, and these people not only get their name called out, but they also get a 1-sentence shout out to make me shout out one of their socials or just say whatever they want. So shout outs to Eliza Tantavi, who wants you to check out critical-distance.com, an aggregator for games criticism and journalism. And also to Carr, who is a dentist, so he's not shouting out his Twitch stream, but your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time right before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
Adios, amigos.